Hey, I saw this as an acquittal. I said, this should be an acquittal. I believe it will be an acquittal. That's what I called, and I was wrong because Texas had other plans. But I don't think I was wrong about what it should have been. I was wrong about what they decided it would be. Let me explain. Karmelo Anthony, 19 years old, was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to 35 years, and the jury decided this. An all non-black jury decided that Karmelo Anthony would spend the next at least 17.5 years in jail. 17.5 years is the age of Austin Metcalfe when Karmelo Anthony killed him. And yes, I say kill because I do not believe that Karmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalfe. He killed Austin Metcalfe, which is a tragedy, but it happens. And it happened to Austin Metcalfe. The defense, they were hanging their hopes on the jury seeing this as a defense, like self-defense. Defense from Austin Metcalfe and the others that were there as they surrounded Karmelo Anthony, as they approached him. And as Austin Metcalfe, who stood above Karmelo Anthony, laid hands on Karmelo Anthony, and Anthony pulled out his knife. Only then did he pull out the knife. He did not wield the knife. He only pulled it out as Austin was laying hands upon him. And they didn't see that as a defense. And as I say that back, I even more firmly believe it was self-defense. After they came up with the verdict, the defense put in a motion for sudden passion, mitigating circumstances, sudden passion. That's when something happens that triggers someone in the moment and they do something. Sudden passion could be coming home and finding your wife with someone else or your husband with someone else, or road rage moment that gets out of hand. Jury dismissed it. Said, no, this was all planned. He bought the knife, so he was planning. The mother threw her son and her family on the floor for mercy and said, hey, my son is sorry he did this. This is not who he is. He's a good man. He's a good young man. He was 17 years old. Please take that into consideration, and the jury did not. If they extended mercy to Karmelo Anthony, that would have changed the trajectory of the sentencing. That would have made it a manslaughter. That would have taken it from 5 to 99 years to 2 to 20 years. So that's very significant that they did not listen to that argument. They decided against it. No, they wanted their pound of flesh. They wanted Karmelo Anthony in jail as long as possible. And pretty much that's what they got. And it only took an all non-black jury to do it. I know there are people out there that think an Asian person and an Indian person are equivalent to black jurors. I don't think they are. Their census doesn't say black, and I'm pretty sure they know the difference between black people and themselves. And if those people say, hey, what does that have to do with anything? You're right. What does race have to do with it? So why exclude all black people if race has nothing to do with it? In stating that one black person said, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this, I don't want to lock a brother up, does not nullify all the other black people that you dismissed. But for some reason, repeatedly, this is the media narrative that they're spinning to justify no black people on the jury. One guy. What about the 3 women? The 3 educated black women who were up later towards the end of the process to be on the jury, who did not display or state any bias. Why'd you dismiss them? Oh, I know. Because they were educators. You don't want teachers on the jury, even though there was a white woman teacher already on the jury that you've accepted. What they did not want It's black educated people. They did not want black teachers. And that's why I brought up the Batson challenge. And even though I have BS bigoted attorneys like Andrew Branca stating, what's that? The Batson challenge that the defense used that was denied by the judge would have put those three women on the stand or in the jury box. And that may or may not have changed the outcome of the trial. But we will never know that, will we? So don't tell me that race doesn't matter, because if race did not matter, you would have let those black women sit in that jury and you would have got your verdict anyway. I stand on business. I do not feel that Karmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalfe. I feel like what he did was an accident, a horrific accident. In fact, afterwards, he goes over to his coach. He drops the knife after one poke. He goes, drops the knife. He runs to his coach. He says, "Coach," and he explains what happens. He's crying. When the cops come, he asks, "Is Austin okay? He made me do it. I didn't mean to do it." These does not sound like the words of a cold-blooded killer. This does not sound like the words of a premeditated killer. This does not sound like someone who intentionally wanted to take someone's life. Dismissed. Irrelevant. This is not justice. I stand on business. Karmelo Anthony is not a murderer. He killed someone. He shouldn't have. This happens in America. We have a witness problem in this case. And that's another reason why I stated that Karmelo Anthony should be acquitted and found not guilty. How can you have witnesses who say one thing in 2023, who come back 3 years later, 2.5 years later, and say totally different testimony? According to the rules in Texas, the jury is supposed to throw out their testimony. It's found to be uncredible. You can't rely on it. If you say it happened this way, right after the event happened, and then 2 years later, you have a totally different story, we need to throw out everything from you. The jury did not do that, and neither did the judge. They let the testimony be changed. There are people in the courtroom who saw Austin Metcalfe's dad, Mr. Metcalfe, sitting there telegraphing to the witnesses why they were on the stand testifying, as if instructing and coaching them along. The judge did not strike it. He did not intervene. He did not remove Mr. Metcalfe. He let it continue. I stand on business. I state clearly, Karmelo Anthony may have been convicted, but he was not guilty and is not guilty of murder. Why not let the cameras into the courtroom? Whose privacy are you protecting by not having cameras in the courtroom in such a high-profile case? There's a reason why they didn't want cameras, and there's a reason why they didn't want black people on the jury, and there's a reason why they let that testimony from witnesses that have changed over the years stand, and there's a reason why Mr. Metcalfe got to coach along witnesses while they were on the stand testifying, and there's a reason why all this happened, and it's not because of justice. And there'll be reasons why these people are clapping for Karmelo Anthony going to jail, but the reasons are not justice, not even close.
As his race. One prospective juror who prosecutors identified as African American said he would have a hard time putting a brother in jail.
Let me tell you something. I wouldn't have a hard time putting someone who broke the law in jail. Okay. But see, this is what's wrong with the black community.
There's reasons why I had a problem with it. Yeah, I know. I know you have no problem locking up brothers. I'm sure. We get it, DeVory. We know where your money comes from. We know who your audience is, and we know who you are accountable to. And it ain't us, and it ain't the truth. and you think it's funny. The verdict was decided by a jury of all non-black participants. This to me is a problem. I will never co-sign a verdict this intense where there is a black and white, where a black man is accused of murdering a white man and not having at least one black person on that jury. This is America. This is Texas. And matter of fact, I don't know if it matters where it is, but this is America. And the racial bias in America, particularly in Texas, a state that is historically racist when it comes to black people getting justice, and notorious in throwing black people under the bus. And to think we have so many of these people. These commentators that are pointing fingers at Karmelo Anthony and blaming black America, blaming black fathers, though Karmelo's dad is in the home. It's Austin's whose dad is not in the home, who does not have an intact family unit. It's Karmelo that was a honor roll student, not Austin. But they're lecturing the black people that we need to get our stuff together, that we need to be better parents, that we need to do all these things instead of just accepting the flat, honest truth, and that is we live in a racially biased system that is run by racially biased individuals, and justice is fleeting and hard to find for us. And if this was a white kid on white kid, no big deal, no one hears about it. If this was a black on black kid, no problem, nobody hears about it. If this was a white kid and the roles were reversed, and if the victim was Karmelo Anthony, and Karmelo Anthony was the bigger, towering over little Austin, thin-framed Austin, I'm sure the verdict would have been totally different. In fact, there would have been no verdict because there would have been no charges, because everyone would have saw the little young white boy who's smaller, more diminutive, in the face of the bigger Karmelo. They would have saw that and said, obviously, this poor boy is being bullied. But since it's a black kid, you can't even for a moment consider maybe he was intimidated by the bigger kid and his friends. Instead of people seeing that for what it is. You know what? They did see it for what it is. It's the way they want it to be. Yeah, I want black America to know you're not crazy. You're not losing your mind. You know, you're right. You're right, I'm right. Regardless of the verdict that they handed down, the fact remains, if Karmelo Anthony looked more like Terry Crews and Metcalfe looked more like Timothée Chalamet, this never goes to trial. Shame on you for lecturing black people about a racist system we don't control, as if everything we do, what we do, changes how the system operates. Pick what you stand for and who you advocate for. Stop riding the damn fence. Am I right? Decide for yourself. I may have been wrong about the jury coming back with a guilty verdict for Karmelo Anthony. The fact is, fam, I underestimated just how biased this jury could be and how biased this court would operate. I own that. But I wasn't wrong about how the jury was put together. I wasn't wrong about the slanted demographics of the jury. I wasn't wrong about how they came to this point of having no black jurors. And I wasn't wrong about how we as black Americans feel about it. That, I'm not wrong about that. Both things can be true simultaneously. And finding Karmelo Anthony guilty does not mean he is. It just means you said he was. So in South Carolina, we got Rick Chow, found not guilty after he shoots a 14-year-old black kid in the back in 2023. They say he pointed a gun, though we have no evidence that that happened, but the jury took his word that a gun was pointed and then not pointed, and as he ran away, they were so afraid they shot him in the back. Fine. That's our justice system working as designed. And now, we have this case. We have Karmelo Anthony responding to the bigger Austin Metcalfe, who just wanted him to leave, who defended himself and stood his ground in a state where that's supposed to mean something. And we come back with this verdict. And Black America gets once again reminded just what we working with. And it's got nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with America. This is our system working exactly as it is designed to work for Black Americans. Negatively. Unfairly. Biased. All right. Karmelo's mother asked for leniency, and the judge said, leniency to the guilty is cruelty to the victims. Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. 17 and a half years will be served before he is eligible for parole. I can only hope that they will be appealing this decision on at least some of the grounds that I just stated. I end with this. Just because this jury and this court made this decision on this day doesn't mean it's right. And just because you people clapping and cheering won doesn't mean you're right. It just means you won. And just because you're up doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. My name is Tim Black. If you find this content helpful, interesting, or important, subscribe to this channel and cut on all your notifications. I'll be live streaming tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got more coverage coming. Till then, stay courageous and stay dangerous.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.